And so you go up there and then it doesn't matter how hard you turn, you just can't quite bring it back.
Yep.
And sometimes I would be like, okay, yeah, I'm fine. And then I'm like, I can't actually get back into the wave, and I'd be left behind.
I totally got suckered into that move. We've got an absolute belter that we want to show everyone. But how did you figure it out? It's kind of like there's a bit of lip here, then there's a back to it, and that back never folds over.
I'm putting all my force into that tail of the board to try to bring it around as quick as I can back into the pocket.
Definitely hold that turn longer. And I love this little step forward here. You could almost say that the turn transitions into another takeoff.
Exactly, yeah.
You shift your weight forward like you're dropping back into the wave again. Too far out here, there's a bit of a dead zone. And even in the lip, there's a bit of a dead zone. So the pocket kind of does something like that. We recently went down to Urbn Surf and had an absolute blast. Dru, I think you've never been to the wave pool before. You studied that wave online and watched people surfing it for quite a bit.
Yeah.
How different was it from what you thought it was going to be to what it really was like there?
Yeah, I've watched countless videos, especially before I knew I was going to go. I just spent the whole week just like watching as many as I could, mostly just to analyze the wave. The two biggest things I had to do in my mind were how to do turns on the outside.
Yep.
And then I was looking, where can I do an air? Is it possible?
So it's interesting because we grew up pretty much in the same era, and what we did is we just consumed video footage of the best surfers, and then through it was like monkey see, monkey do. So you consumed, went to the wave pool, had a game plan. Did it work out?
It really did. It definitely helped doing that. If I had gone in without having any thought and just went, okay, I'm just going to go surf and just see what happens.
Yep.
I've spoken to people who have done this, and they've had a bit of a bad time at times because they've gone to their go-to way of surfing, which is different to this wave. So they're trying to do snaps because they think the wave, oh yeah, it's a nice wave with a steep wall. It's got some steep sections. I can just do a snap, a vertical turn in the pocket, and they're getting stuck. And I was noticing this on some of the videos that I was watching. Some guys were not finding flow down the line, doing the turns that weren't working. But then I noticed a couple of guys who were drawing their lines, drawing longer lines, and they seemed to have more flow.
I've been there a few times. My first 3 waves, I didn't know where I was. The water's clean, so you can almost see the bottom of the pool, so the wave looks like transparent. So it's like, whoa, where's the bottom? The actual bubble of energy, you don't feel it perfectly. It's a bit like stop, start, up, down, and a little bit funky.
Yeah.
So it takes some getting used to. My question to you, being ex-pro surfer, winning some air comps and a really great surfer, how were you able to, or how many sessions did it maybe even take you to find the sweet spot to be able to surf that wave well? Because we've got an absolute belter that we want to show everyone, but how did you figure it out?
Yeah, it took me a few goes to get to that wave. It happened to me, and you said it happened to you as well, where
I've got footage of it.
You'd go to the top of the wave, where you would normally surf an ocean wave, you would normally go right up to the top. Yeah, and this wave is different. It has sort of a wave inside of itself, where the power zone is, like what you're talking about. And then, but the top of the wave is actually higher than this.
Kind of like a false peak.
And it tempts you. It's like, oh, come up here and try to hit this bit. And so you go up there, and then it doesn't matter how hard you turn, you just can't quite bring it back. And it's like there's a little speed bump that you just can't get over to get back in.
Yep.
And sometimes I would be like, okay, yeah, I'm fine. And then I'm like, I can't actually get back into the wave, and I'd be left behind.
I totally got suckered into that move. So what we've done is we've teed up the wave. Now the beautiful thing about the wave pool, you can almost see where we've teed it up because you've got the lines on the dots on the wall. So if I do a little arrow, you can see that starting on that first dot and on the first dot. Okay. Now, the interesting thing about this is that you and our styles are quite similar, but where you do your turn and where I get suckered into that false lip is really interesting. So check this out. So we take off. It's quite a steep drop, so our hands go back and we're both on the back foot there. So very similar patterns and techniques. You start leaning a bit earlier, which get you up. I'll lean perhaps deeper and a little bit later.
I feel like that's helped me get a little closer to the pocket.
Yes. Now the interesting thing, can you see on your wave, right over here is almost like a split in the wave. So there's a bit of dark water and shadow, and then there's a bit of a bright water over there. So it almost like kind of splits that wave. You can see the pocket there.
That's that dead zone that we're talking about,
Yes.
all this.
And if you're stuck out in that dead zone, which by the way is where I travel to, so check out what happens next. So you're already in the pocket, I'm following up. You're doing a great rail turn. Watch what happens to me. I go to the top, a little higher than you do, and I pivot and then, dead zone.
Yeah, you can see the line that you're drawing was kind of like this, so
Yep.
you're just over the edge there.
And my board hits a bit of a bit of water at the top.
Tabletop. Almost.
Yeah, so I get stuck on that top and the board won't come down.
Yeah.
So then I really have to shift my weight on the front leg. So you can see the head's over the front foot, and then I kind of do
You make it back in.
a bit of recovery into then, but it looks like a very, very similar position to you.
Yeah.
So here's my question to you then. And it would be really nice because you had a follow cam and some GoPro footage.
Yeah.
I try to take a more vertical approach to a part of the wave and I anticipated something that wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
You changed your approach. You got more flow and speed and drive, and I bogged rail. So I'd love you to then talk us through what happened on your wave, and then perhaps we bring it up with the GoPro footage.
All right, so this is actually the footage from the helmet cam, taking off right next to the wall there, and you can see how you can just see the bottom of the concrete, and this is right here. You can see I start looking really early across towards the shoulder and drawing more of a lateral line across the bottom. Stop it right there. See that, Clay? I think that's what you were looking at.
Yeah, I was totally wanting to, and I was expecting that there to give me a bit of like
if you're in
pushback.
Yeah, if you're in the ocean, right, that would push more, wouldn't it? It seems like in the wave pool it presents itself a little bit, but then it kind of backs away.
Yeah, it's almost like I'm going to try to zoom in here for you to show you something. So it's kind of like there's a bit of lip here. Then there's a back to it, and that back never folds over. So a lot of people, if they do go to hit it, they get stuck on this ridge.
Yes.
Over here.
Yeah.
So that was kind of where I kind of went a bit wrong.
Yeah. So my idea was I did that as well. Don't get me wrong. I did that multiple times and got stuck right there. And so my new plan was like, okay, I have to make sure. So I was taking off. Let's go back to here. I was taking off. And I was trying to start this bottom turn early and get it really close into this pocket zone.
Yep.
And if I could get in tight in the pocket there and start my carve nice and early so I don't go too high.
Yep.
And
so you know what's interesting? You've got your board totally sideways. So can we pause it there?
Yeah.
That part of the wave now is pushing you. Whereas if you're up here, it's almost not even breaking. Like this is just, it's almost just like a bit of chop. There's no push from that. Whereas the whole wave's actually pushing you back down again.
Yeah, and I could feel that. I could feel that force against the tail of my board, and I was pushing as hard as I could, and it was pushing back.
Yeah, you could definitely see that. Brilliant.
Another thing to note is how much I'm leaning back. My back arm's dragging, I'm leaning right back, so all of my weight is in the wave rather than up and above my board and above the top of the wave.
It's interesting that you say that, because a lot of people, when they go up to hit the lip, they stand on the board, and when they push, they're almost putting like a downward force and the board stops. Yeah. Whereas because you're that way, it's kind of like the wave's pushing you back in that direction. So you're utilizing the energy and the gravity of the wave, whereas a lot of people go up and just hit the back brakes and stop.
Yeah, and then if we carry on, you can see I'm putting all my force into that tail of the board to try to bring it around as quick as I can back into the pocket.
Definitely hold that turn longer. And I love this little step forward here. You could almost say that the turn transitions into another takeoff.
Exactly, yeah.
You shift your weight forward like you're dropping back into the wave again. This could be actually pretty interesting. If we go versus, then as you go up, you don't want to hit that false lip.
Yeah.
So
You can see I've cut it short right
yes,
there.
you can see you
There's
under.
about a foot of distance between the top of the wave there.
Yep. Now this is crazy, Drew. I love this. Look at the underside of the board there. So see how on rail they are? So if you were pushing down, your board would be flat.
Yep.
But what I love about that, you're almost on a heel edge. See there?
Yeah, the board's like 90 degrees to the water.
Correct, yeah. So by that, what Drew's saying is it's 90, whereas a lot of people go up and the board's flat and they push down on the tail.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's just releasing all that traction on the surface of the water.
Now, the recovery of this is brilliant. So it's heel edge, back to toe edge. Heel edge, toe edge. That was absolutely brilliant. I love it. See where you are on the wave now. Can you look at this little, see for the white water how it curves?
Yeah.
You're trying to find that clean curve, which is the pocket. Too far out here, there's a bit of a dead zone. And even the lip, there's a bit of a dead zone. So the pocket kind of does something like that. Would you say that that's correct?
Yeah, totally. There's a little tabletop at the top there and a wave within a wave.
Correct. So if you can start to identify how the water's moving, and if you get overexcited and you race out into the flats, you're gonna lose it. If you get overexcited like me and try hit the lip, you're gonna lose it.
Yeah.
You kind of got to wait for it, and when it presents itself, bang.
That leads to another video because as you can see, this wave actually set me up for a really good air section, and I was able to do an air.
That's pretty incredible. I'd love to actually break that one down because we've had a lot of inquiries about how to do airs. So
Yeah.
I reckon it'll make for a great next sequel to the YouTube video.
Excellent.
Yeah, let's see you in the next video.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks a lot.